Well, if you can imagine a Pluto square anything, like anything square to Pluto, like say the Mars square Pluto, it's unique to the Pluto's placement. And with this particular square to Mars, the unique placement of Pluto right now is at 27 degrees cardinal Capricorn. And that's where the square is happening, is in the cardinals. In the case of Mars, is Mars in Libra, which is a very interesting dynamic as far as those planets being involved in a square. The Mars in Libra is very different than any other Mars in Libra. It's at its detriment there because it's not so aggressive. It's diplomatic. Now, why that's detrimental is another whole other thing we can communicate. I think that might be bass words, but so Mars is apt to not put up such the fight, but to do a diplomatic more, well, Libra is very much a communicative planet. It's ruled by Venus, but it's also co-ruler of Saturn, which gives structure to this thing, and usually, communications is one big, huge one. But really, the kind of communication is what you really want to look into, and now we're moving into the courthouse, where a lot of things are divvied up, you know, um, looking at each word, and then also, yeah, music is ruled by Libra. Just getting into the math and the nature of Mars square to Pluto right now, even though it's in the air, see, usually, and I just wanted to sum this up and give it a short video about the Mars square Pluto vibration. This is my own astrological, for any time that you want to learn, this is what a Mars square Pluto is kind of like. Pluto is in the air, squaring Mars. It's kind of like evil wants to get its way, and it might be just getting its way at this time. You give it a 6-degree orb, not necessarily a day, because a lot of times the planet will move slower, so you look at the degree. And, well, we know now that Mars changes signs on the 13th, I think is when it finally goes into Scorpio, so it's just going to taper off of this current Mars square Pluto, which it just feels, you can feel the tension in the air. You can feel, if you're a Plutonian or a Mars, if you have any of the late degree cardinal, you're being triggered, you're being set off, and um, whatever kind of, unfortunately, the Pluto square Mars people are very unconscious. This is classically the narcissist, very dangerous, actually, people, very violent people who do the violent act, and it's not necessarily, I mean, come on, a psychopath isn't necessarily just all out there doing physical violence. They could be doing other things, like behind the scenes, playing around, toying with people's lives. They use sex to do that. That's where the Mars square Pluto comes in. You want to watch out for those kinds of people that have a square there, because not even they are using it for their best benefit. They're in some kind of fucking sad. It's very karmic. You see that they kind of pop in and out of the shadow, that they don't quite know why they're not being trusted, and it's all them. It's like, well, why do people all of a sudden turn on me? It's like, because they notice that you're not trustworthy, and give it some time, and it shows, and it's like, damn, after a while you try to work with these people, narcissists, and you can't work a fucking golf ball through a gutter, even if it was the laws of physics, and very simple. A child can just drop it, go down, come out. What the fuck is the problem there? They can complicate it up, as well as spoiling shit sandwiches, uh, known to gag maggots. Anyway, that's the Mars square Pluto vibe. It's not going to solve any problems anytime soon. Why? It's quite possible that they're being the problem. Negative energy, unfortunately, getting its way, trying to get its way. This is really a trip right now. See, because Libra is the generation that's gonna rise. My generation, if you're my same age, give or take a few years, like 6 years back and forth, I think that's when the Pluto in Libra was happening, 1970s, beginning of such, not 69, but yeah, 69 some maybe. Uh, you want to give it a good orb. But also with Uranus and Libra. So this is like the Uranus, the Librian vibe is going to benefit from Pluto entering into Aquarius. It's going to be, oh, the difference between night and day, folks. And if you ever thought that your life had a purpose as somebody in this generation, you know, it's really being triggered off now. If you survived any, you know, you can't be the one that preaches, okay, I just saw this saying right now. It says, well, if you have something to say, then silence is a lie. Now, what's worth saying, but kind of standing against injustices and trying to right a wrong, you know, and maybe causing illumination in minds, people who may be trapped, and say, well, and just like, it's like, well, bump them a little bit and say, well, maybe that's not really the way we're supposed to do it. Maybe that was just a suggestion that you took on, manufactured by your enemy, and we are in the thick of it now. The reason why I'm able to just do not get in my face right now, because it's not going to be fun. First of all, I'm not going to back down from who I am, the truth. I'm Mercury and Uranus conjunct. And even though I get a little harebrained, and we're all just human, boy, for God's sakes, don't be just human around a narcissist. And I didn't just say, you know, when we say just human, we're talking about, now I was actually aiming for the ones who, well, sometimes we need help. We need a little energetic lift up, you know, a little validation from our fellow human. You're not going to get that from your fellow, really, it's not a human, it's a narcissist there. They show up when you're down. Unfortunately, that's when you see them. It's that saying, watch out for when people clap. Listen for that time. Listen, it's more like when they make a presence in your life. Is it when you're down all the time? Well, that fucking sucks. And unfortunately, it's most of society who's like that. And I am not at all against people rushing in when you need help. But do you recognize us when we're up at all? No. Over your head, it's what it's called. And then when we duck under, it's like, there, join the rest of us. And it's like, no, now, that fucking mob attitude is going to have to stand down. Yes, it is. I know for a fact that the energy that I carry right now with that Pluto square Mars in the air, it's not an isolated incident. It's actually standing up during this storm of evil saying, we got our way again. Just had to have more than 2 people, like 7, more like 10 or 55 agreeing on the same 2 plus 2 is 5, and we get our way. Not going to happen anymore. Why? It should have never happened. It couldn't happen in front of sound-minded children. They know what 2 plus 2 is. Why do we stand down? Like I said, just being human is part of it, is being insecure and trying to get along and wanting to fit in. It's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that with these fucking people. Right now, it's like they turn their back, but they're like, are you coming? Are you coming? We'll give you money. You know, all of the big money-making schemes right now is to suck you in. Whatever this fucking shit that they're talking about.